Hi guys, Rachel Spunky Misfit Girl here, and I'm super excited to be going back to this project. You might have seen me, I did a video before on the doors for the cover of this journal, which are super fun. And I have actually kind of just left it sit for a while I was doing other things. I don't make a lot of these big hardcover journals. Just because they're very time intensive. But I've gotten a lot of other things done, pretty well prepped for Crafters Convention in the fall. The shop is pretty well stocked, at least of the physical things. I've been working on some digital stuff, and I'm ready to come back to this one. So I thought I would film some of the process of putting this together. I've actually already formed my signatures and glued them in to my spine. So I don't remember how much of the process I showed on video before, but I made a spine out of bookboard that sits right inside of my middle space here. Covered it with paper. You can see not all of the way because it won't show. I'm gonna glue it in. And then I've got 3 signatures. They're only 4 or 5 pages each, but they're a little bit heavier weight paper so that I can do a good amount of stuff to them that has a little bit of weight. And these are actually all my design. I don't have them in the shop yet because I don't really consider them quite finished. Some of them I just threw together really quickly because I wanted stuff to put in here, and they aren't all individual designs either. I repeated some of them for the papers for this, but they're very beautiful. Black roses, castles, very gothy feeling pages. I also sewed in some shorter flips that I can then decorate and add some things to. And I'll maybe do a little bit of videoing when I'm working through some of the pages in here. So those are sewn in and ready to go in my spine. So I just need to put together the rest of my interior of my book before I do that. So I've got to cover up because this part here will show. So I've got book cloth of the same color as what I have on my outside, and I'm going to use Lineco. This is they call it neutral pH adhesive on the label. I'm not sure why. It's PVA glue basically, and I think it will show up if you search for PVA glue. And this is just a really good glue. It's designed for bookbinding. You know, it mimics the kind of glue that I used to make. And I do not love this cap because I think it gets sticky. So I've got my glue bowl here that I just keep adding to because it's easy, and a brush, and I'm just gonna brush that glue on. I'm actually gonna move this guy out of the way here and use a piece of scrap paper to get this glued up to its edges and everything. And what's nice about this glue is it's very flexible, which is what you want in a book spine like this. It's it holds well, strong, but it also allows the paper and the spine to move very easily. And that's what makes it good for bookbinding. And I have been using this stuff since before I started junk journaling. My original interest really was in hand bookbinding. And I took a lot of classes ages ago on different ways to do that. So pull this out of the way and slide this guy in to the inside. And of course I got glue, which is really hard with black because it does show, but I'm just not very good at keeping it off of my things. That's why I'm a junk journaler and not a super pro, make it look beautiful bookbinder. I'm just easing that in there, rubbing it down with my bone folder. I do want to make sure that I get that nice and tight so that my spine doesn't end up being too big because I've shortened the space in my spine. I got that on there. Okay, and so then I have my end papers prepped and ready to go for this too, and I'm just gonna glue those in also with the PVA glue. And I cut them to the size I wanted them. And we're gonna do that the same way. A little more glue. I'm super excited to work on this journal. I have a lot of stuff prepped and ready to go into it already. But there's gonna be lots of fun thinking about what else to do with it. What other kinds of little tricky fun pieces to add to it. The thing about this glue though too is that with paper, particularly certain kinds of paper, it can be it gets absorbed really quickly and easily. Like this paper, this mid-weight cardstock that I use for a lot of things is a very thirsty paper, and it soaks up a lot of this glue. So I try not to overdo it because that can happen very easily, but this stuff tends to need a lot of glue on it. Somehow, of course, I don't have anything to deal with my messy fingers on. All right, let's pull this guy back over here. Make sure you are on camera. And we're just gonna put this guy in where we want him. Start from the corner here. Line this up. And where did I put the bone folder? There she is. I'm gonna just try to get this off with my finger. This will be such a nice book when it's done. That one does not like me. Surely, I have a rag. I had one. I have Kleenex. I always worry with Kleenex because it tends to leave hairs. Old glue seeping out there. It's been a little while since I filmed because I did a big batch, and it makes me feel like I haven't seen you guys in ages, which is very funny. Obviously, it's not gonna feel that way to you guys. There, that's looking good. I like it. Let's do the next one. And then once this is all glued in, I'm gonna just leave this sit overnight. So we're gonna need a little bit more, I think. It's gonna sit overnight under books. To adhere. La-di-da. Just gluing on some pages. I don't do a lot of these partly because this just isn't really my favorite part. I do like sewing pages, although sewing them into a board spine like that is not my favorite way of sewing. I prefer to sew straight onto like cardstock or envelopes, things like that to make my journals. It's just easier, more fun. It's more fiddly when you're doing 3 signatures like this and you're gluing to board. There's more chance for a lot of error. And it's just, you just really have to pay more attention to the details, and I don't enjoy that as much. I do like having one of these all prepped and ready to be decorated, and that is my favorite part once I dig into the decorating. So once this is done, I'll be very excited. After this is dry, and I'm about to dive into putting some stuff into it and making some stuff to go into it. Bits of glue. The thing about the PVA glue too is that it does have a tendency to dry ugly, especially on black. It's a bit hard to use. There. Still looking good. Old book made new. I'm pleased. Oh, this is gonna be so great. The other reason I don't do a lot of these is because of how much time they take. And that means that if I'm gonna sell them, I have to charge a lot more just to deal with the time. Yeah, I was worried about that. This is gonna be a tight fit. I should have made the spine after I covered this, but I forgot. I'm just gonna try to really ram that back into the crevice there so that it shortens up. And all right, now I'm gonna take my glue and I'm gonna put these guys in there too. Again, a little more, and I don't think it comes out. I do, however, even though I'm saying I don't do a lot of these, I have a fairy one waiting for me to do the same thing with. I have covers ready. Although my problem with that one is that I didn't think about a closure for it. And I already put all my papers on, I think including my EndPapers. So I have to decide what I want to do with it because it's gonna need a closure of some kind, and I don't know how that's gonna work. But I'll probably do some filming on that one too. Show you guys what it looks like. It is a really stunning cover. I used a really beautiful special paper to cover it. And then an image from the kit designed by Emma Parrish. It's really beautiful. That I also gave some metallic gold paint to. All right, so then what I'm gonna do with this is I'm going to actually, I forget now. I think I was leaving it under books open rather than closed, because I was doing it closed before and that was causing problems, and I think it was it worked out better when I left them open. So I'm gonna take this over into the living room, cover it with paper towels, and put some big heavy books on it overnight for 24 hours. And then when I come back to start on the ephemera and start decorating, I will tell you guys how it went. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and sign up for my email list for free printables and discounts in the Etsy shop. Thank you so much.